1190 AM, 107.5 FM.
Pallavi Ahluwalia has been with us on the program before. She herself an immigrant. She knows what the pathway, the proper, right, legal pathway to citizenship is like. And in fact, she knows it better than most immigration attorneys. Let me bring her up on the Newsmaker line. Pallavi Ahluwalia. Pallavi, good afternoon to you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me again, and I'm glad to be back with you here today again, Pat. Thank you again.
Well, I'm having you on for a couple of reasons, but it does revolve around immigration. President Trump is saying he's going to use an executive order. He's going to suspend immigration, basically from everywhere, to come into the states for two reasons. First of all, it's temporary, but for two reasons. Because of coronavirus, to stop bringing in any more of the disease than is already here, and secondly, to protect jobs. Now, you are incredibly involved in the legal side of immigration. Can the president legally do this?
Yes, he does seem to have the authority. It comes from, when it comes to protecting the U.S. from, for health-related reasons, he does have that. It is given to him by USC Code. There's a Title 42, which is quoted on that. And recently, when the president devised the travel ban from some countries which didn't have enough security that was set up for them, we're talking about what's been called controversially the Muslim ban. For those countries, the Supreme Court did come out on his side, saying that if he considers some circumstances to be urgent, he can ask that will not be allowed into the country.
So now some people, and there are some judges that are trying to say, well, the president can't do this. One of them from the Western District of Washington tried to stop the president with a 7-page order. What surprised me about this judge does this with a 7-page order here and is trying to stop this, Pallavi. And when he tries to stop him, he doesn't even cite the Constitution or a law or anything. And another judge goes in, cites the law, and says the president can do this because he is obviously doing it for the protection of the people. And at a time right now when, look, we've got numbers of over 750,000 people in this country that we know of that have the coronavirus. And out of that number, we're now 43,000 who have died. If the president doesn't have the opportunity through U.S. law to do this now, when does he have the option to do that?
So there's something to be understood by just the fact that there are lots of bans already from people entering the country, and this has been set up for China earlier than Europe, and it included a lot of countries out in Europe. The fact that immigrants are not coming in is already a fact. This is not just talking about flights coming into the U.S. to protect the U.S. That's already in place. Most consulates are not working. They're only on for emergency services. So in effect, there is a moratorium which is already in place. So this is just, and we're not sure about how this is going to go, but this seems to be more to halt legal immigration into the U.S., and which may also mean that there are lots of legal immigrants who are working in the U.S. that may get impacted. So say, for example, and I'm just going to show this, there's a lot of physicians and some that we represent here in Dallas and in other cities who are fighting the coronavirus, and they are here helping the U.S. citizens and Americans and putting their lives in danger. They hold these work visas that have to be extended. There is some kind of a version of the draft which is out right now that we're still trying to understand if they will be exempted. Don't know everything yet, but there are concerns that these are powers that do exist for the safety of the U.S., but I hope they're exercised with care because it'll end up hurting U.S. more.
Well, and that's true, too. Everything must be done in right order. If the president does this, if he signs this order and says either from all or from other nations that are now experiencing virus outbreaks and they cannot come in, What time frame would you think makes sense on an order like that? Is this a 60-day, 90-day order he should sign? I mean, I don't think he wants to sign it for a year or multiple years, does he?
Yes, I would say, see, on one side we're saying that we're okay and everyone should go back to work. And obviously this is not health related. And if you're going to say this is job related, then we don't know when the economy is going to bounce back. But it should be fair, and I think the order should include, like, if U.S. businesses are laying off people, then they should look to see who's more essential and what role they are playing. By no means should they protect foreign workers and let U.S. citizens or permanent workers go away from their companies. But at the same time, I think it should be based on the necessity of those workers to those companies. So to your question, I would say 30 days would be great. If at all, to just look at what the impact would be. And we also have to see in what modicum these restrictions are being placed, on who they are being placed. If it is for people coming from abroad, for sure, I think he would find support amongst everyone, pro or anti-immigration. But if it's going to say to people who are already living here and them to be sent back, then we have issues, because they are also unable to travel for the same reasons that other people can't come into the country.
Yeah, I think at the outset, I think the main concern is for those who are yet to come into the country, and to stop that flow. Correct. If we didn't put an exact time frame on it, Pallavi, would you think that we could put some benchmarks in place? In other words, if we're going to say it's for health, well then could we say, okay, when the number of active cases in the U.S. falls below this level, then we'll start easing the restrictions on who can come in. And if it's for employment, can we say of the millions who have lost their jobs? Because I personally believe when we quote-unquote reopen the country, a lot of those people are going to go back to the jobs that they had, or they'll go to other jobs. But could we say when 75% of those who lost their jobs because of the pandemic, when 75% have returned to the workplace, at that point we could begin to start easing the number of people who can come into the country because the jobs would be protected?
Yeah, I think that would be fair. You just also stated the same thing that I would agree with totally, which is once you start opening up the economy and the companies go back in business, the jobs will come back. So we just don't know what. We don't know at what point or which numbers they would come back. Maybe restaurants would have smaller seating capacity, but they would still need the workers to run those, fewer people too. So what I'm saying is that I think this is all correlated. The opening of the economy should be bringing the jobs back. The opening of the economy should not be saying that we need to save more jobs. I don't know. To me, it's making little sense to bring in legal immigration, which exists into the country, into the mix right now. I would again agree with the fact that if there are people coming from different countries and there are health concerns, by all means they should be left out and not brought into the country right now. But we're talking about people who are already here helping companies or retaining jobs, creating or whatever the benefits that they do to the different companies that they work for.
Right, because, if you're going to look at the pandemic, okay, I think the Italians are a fabulous culture. I just ate their food this afternoon, okay? but I would hate to say, okay, for the next 60 days, nobody from Italy can come here, because I have nothing against the nation of Italy. But right now, Pallavi, I wouldn't want to go to Italy either.
Yeah, none of us want to travel, and that's fair. So the issue here, Pat, would be more not the fact that we're saying that, should immigrants be coming into the country. That's a different matter. It's saying when you say we're suspending legal immigration, then there are lots of immigrants who keep up their status by living in this country and working for companies and hospitals and the likes. So the issue is that will it impact those people, and would they have to leave the country and the companies where they're providing the benefit to? I mean, the companies that are making use of those services.
No, that's exactly right. Well, listen, the clock is our enemy here today, and I need to get out. I'm going to have Caleb put this interview up on the website. So, folks, if you want to get there in about a half an hour, we'll get that there.
Right.
And then, Pallavi, I'll also link people to you at ahluwalialaw.com so they can find out more about you and the work that you do. I look forward to our next time together. For today, Pallavi, thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. You're so kind. I look forward again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Pallavi Ahluwalia, and we will have her back.